Hey, what's up you guys? Today's video is gonna be fun because I get to complain about something that happened 12 years ago, which is my favorite thing to do. If it happened long enough ago that the number starts with a double digit, let's go! I'm so there. The tea never expires, ladies and germs. And this tea is about my best friend who hated me. Now, my mom would say that she was jealous, and there are a few things that make me think that, but then also there are things that make me not think that at all. I feel like it's the best of both worlds. The only reason this friendship began was because this little girl felt sorry for me, and I know that because she told me that. And I think over time, it did shift from feeling sorry for me, seeing me as a little pet as more than a friend, to gradually being jealous of me because of my other accomplishments. Now, this little girl had accomplishments of her own. She was very smart, could get straight A's without even studying, and I wasn't like that. I had to study and study just to get a C. So she had her own talents, so I'm not sure why she was so fixated on me and what I was doing. If that's the case, I don't want to sound like a narcissist. This is just what I've observed. And this is probably the only person in the history of ever that I would say has been jealous of me. And I don't even think she was that super jealous because she knew what my mom was like. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and check in with y'all, make sure everybody's doing good since that election. Like I said, that was the worst Taco Tuesday of my life, and I'm still not over it. I think all the people crying, ooh, leftist tears, should learn some empathy because at least leftists just cry. We don't storm the Capitol when we lose. We don't get physical. I hope that everyone is being kind to themselves and drinking enough water and eating every day and hanging out with friends and enjoying hobbies and doing what you can to distract ourselves from the next 4 years while we fight, of course. I don't know how a lot of you all are feeling, but as someone who was born AFAB, I feel unsafe in this country, and I'm not in a blue state. So with all that aside, let's go ahead and get into the fun stuff, which is my story time. Please go grab your snacks, bip that wrong, get a soda. Coca-Cola would be the best because, you know, that is the best soda. I'll take Dr. Pepper as an answer, but if you like Pepsi, you're wrong. Pepsi tastes like crap. Pepsi tastes like poop with carbonation. And before you say, how do you know what poop tastes like? I can imagine, okay? I can imagine by the smell how it would taste because you can taste it by smelling it, I swear. Now, I have a list of a timeline of everything Ellie, that's who we're talking about here. If you know, you know. I wanted to make sure not to forget anything. This could be 2 parts, I'm not sure. To set the scene, we have to go back to when I met Ellie, which was track. 7th grade track season, spring 2011. Let me fix my lighting really quick because you can see my shadow. I'm not a shadow puppet master, so we're gonna fix that. How about them apples? I think I look better. Okay, I still have a shadow, so we're just gonna roll with it. I met Ellie in 7th grade track. Now, when I went into track, none of the kids that ran cross country also did track, like at all. So it was just me by myself starting over again. After we would run and we would be waiting to do our stretches or whatever exercises that we had left, I used to just sit alone on the track. There was a track pad where the high jumpers high jump and stuff, and we would sit there to wait to do our stretches, and I would hang out there by myself. I'd be all alone, and this was before smartphones, okay? In 2011, the only people that had an iPhone were rich people, so I didn't have an iPhone. I had a little flip phone, so I didn't have that out there with me to entertain myself. I would straight up just sit on the high jump mat by myself or sit on the edge of the track pad near the grass and pluck it. I would just mind my own business. Now, I always noticed these fellow 7th graders, Ellie and her best friend, and I will give her best friend a different name. I have name dropped her before, but I like her friend. She was always nice to me, so we're not gonna say her real name. So we'll call her best friend Penelope. So Ellie and Penelope. Penelope was super nice when she wasn't around Ellie, but when she was with Ellie, Ellie would speak for her. Penelope would suddenly go mute and lose her voice because Ellie, I suspect, is a little narcissist. And the reason that I think this is because she's the youngest child, so she's been babied her whole life. Her next oldest sibling was like 8 years older than her, so she was unexpected, the baby, and the only girl. So from the time she was born, she was doted on, the center of attention, and when she would go to school and wouldn't be the center of attention or the best at something, that would bother her. Which is why our friendship started to hit the rocks when it turns out I was faster than her at running. But we'll get there. Now, I would notice these 2 friends always hanging out together, and I thought that they seemed nice. I was kind of jealous because I didn't have a little friend to hang out with, but I never approached them because I was shy and neurodivergent. Until one day, where I was sitting there plucking grass, and all of a sudden Ellie approaches me with Penelope, and they sit down and say hi to me. Now, this never happens, okay? So I kind of got excited, like, oh my goodness, maybe I can make some friends here. So we start talking, we tell each other our names and introduce ourselves, and we talk about track, and we talk about school, and it was going really well, until the conversation digressed to running clothes, and we were talking about some new running clothes that we got, specifically our new Nike Pro sports bras, and they showed each other the pattern of their sports bras. So I went to do the same. I'm like, oh yeah, I just went to the sporting goods store with my mom and I got a brand new Nike sports bra too. And I go to show my strap so they could see the pattern, just like those two shared. When I go to show the strap, my finger slips. So it goes like this. and makes that noise. And by the look they gave me, you would have thought I said a slur, okay? When my bra accidentally snapped back as I went to show them to go like that, they thought I did that on purpose, and they thought it was weird. This was the first time I ever noticed the look. And the look is something that a friend gives another friend when they are dealing with another person that they find weird. This is the look. I've talked about this in literally last week's video. They gave each other a weird look, having this silent acknowledgement like, that was weird that she just did that, right? That she just went like this. And I noticed that they looked at each other like that after I did that because it was kind of obvious. I think Ellie wanted me to notice. She didn't try to be discreet and be like, no, it was obvious that you wanted me to know that you guys thought there was something wrong with me. So I immediately apologize and I go, oh, sorry, it slipped. And you know what Ellie goes? Oh. And then she turns and starts talking to Penelope. I knew in that moment that they thought I was weird and like regretted coming up to me, but we were able to push past it. And I just never touched my clothes again to show anybody anything out of fear that I would drop it, like let go of it, and it would snap back and they would think that I was weird. So that was the first time I noticed, okay, maybe these girls don't have the best intentions with approaching me, because if you really want to be friends with somebody, why would you go out of your way to let them know that you made them uncomfortable or that they didn't like something? Now, things went on kind of normal after this. We would hang out every day. I would sit next to them and we started to kind of get to know each other. And I never saw any of those looks again. Now, they could have been giving them to each other, but I just didn't perceive it. Okay, or I did see it, but I didn't think anything about it, because if you have a problem with me, surely you tell me, right? You wouldn't just blatantly look at someone else and have a silent acknowledgement that there's something wrong with me. You would talk to me, right? No, that's not how little kids work, or the world, really. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. If they have a problem with me, they'll tell me. Now, something Ellie did tell me further down the line, maybe like a month later, I was like, so what made you approach me and want to be friends? And Ellie said, and I quote, verbatim, word for word, oh, well, we would just see you sitting alone every day and we felt kind of sorry for you. If someone becomes your friend because they felt sorry for you, drop them immediately. Okay? Because they have ulterior motives. They don't respect you at the same level that they respect everyone else. I'm just gonna leave that there. I felt uncomfortable when Ellie told me that, but I didn't have any friends, so I couldn't really be picky. So I'm just like, oh, well, I'm glad we're friends now. She also said that she thought I was kind of weird at first. I just have neurodivergence, and neurotypical kids find me weird. My mannerisms are different, I guess. The way that I go about things are different. I don't know. You tell me. But one of the first times I noticed that Ellie isn't that nice of a person, other than the look, is one of our first track meets. Now, we had a relay race, and Ellie was in the race, Penelope, me, and this sweet girl named Haley. Now, Haley was our anchor, and we were in first place the entire relay until we passed the baton to Haley. Haley ended up getting passed at the end because she was just not the fastest. I don't know why they put the slowest girl in the fourth leg. They should have put me there, the fastest one, but they didn't. So we ended up losing, and Ellie purposely started yelling, whining, complaining when Haley was in earshot, okay? Haley comes over. Ellie was in the midst of throwing a fit because we went from first to fourth, and she said, it's all her fault. And she didn't know that Haley was standing right behind her. And I'm like, Ellie, and that's when Ellie turns and sees Haley, and instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, that wasn't appropriate, she goes, well, it's true, we lost because of you. And I just completely ignored Ellie at that point, turned my back to her. I put my arm around Haley and I said, hey, I'm not mad that we lost. I had a lot of fun racing that. Please don't beat yourself up. This is not that big of a deal. This is a 7th grade track meet. Who gives a flying F doodle? Now, when Ellie saw me having empathy, she realized it would be appropriate in that moment to also have empathy. So then she was like, oh, maybe that wasn't very nice of me. My bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, it wasn't very nice, Ellie. That little girl went home feeling like crap, like she failed our entire relay team just because she wasn't as fast as us. Who gives a crap? We'll win next time. And we did. Fast forward to 8th grade, Ellie and I have been friends for a year. Ellie did do track in 8th grade, but I think she quit halfway through. I don't remember her being there the whole time. In 8th grade, though, the Hunger Games movie came out in March of 2012. And I remember that me and Ellie went together. When we got into the theater, though, the only seats we could find where we could sit next to each other on the premiere night were these 2 seats in the way back that are meant for couples. So we both just took those seats. And me not thinking anything weird of it, I'm like, oh, I wonder if people will think that we're girlfriends because we're sitting in these 2 seats together. And I didn't think that that would be a big deal if they did. Like, I don't really care what other people think. But Ellie got so uncomfortable by that. She got so uncomfortable with the thought of people thinking that she was with me like that, of all people, that she couldn't focus on the preview. She was like, wait, Wait, do you really think that? I wasn't that concerned about sitting here until you said that. Now I don't really think I want to sit here with you because what if they think we're girlfriends? That's so gross. And me being bisexual now, what a little homophobe. It's kind of funny because Ellie unfollowed me a couple years ago when I came out as trans. So I know for a fact that she's not an ally, okay? She's a little Christian bitch. I ended up convincing her, dude, no one's thinking that. It was just a silly joke. Please don't make us move because the only other option was sitting way up next to the screen and I'm not doing that. I literally told her, if you're that worried about it, you can move up, but I'm not moving up with you because I refuse to be this close to the screen, okay? The screen and my eyeball holes don't need to be touching. So she ended up staying with me because I guess in her mind, sitting with me and people thinking she's a lesbian was better than sitting alone. I don't know. So I found that kind of strange. So now we got 2 strikes against Ellie, 3 if you count the stare thing. But again, I don't have many friends, so I can't really be picky. So I'm gonna keep being friends with this girl that makes a big deal out of everything and isn't very kind and was outwardly rude to my face. The next thing I want to get to is this night where Ellie came to my house and she stayed until about midnight and we were on the trampoline wrestling and we were playing a game. I forget what her character was, but my character was injured or something in the story we were creating. Yes, I would still play pretend in 8th grade, and what of it? I bet you're jealous that your friends were more worried about nail polish and lip gloss and makeup than playing pretend. Me and my friends, I'd get them to play pretend with me, okay? Forget that shit. Forget boys. We're gonna pretend to be warrior cats, okay? And we're gonna become kids apprentices, warriors, and then we're gonna fight for that leader position, all right? So honestly, I think we were playing warriors or we were pretending to be wolves. I don't know, but my character was weaker than her character. So I remember letting her beat me in wrestling. We were wrestling around with each other, and my character being the younger, smaller one, I didn't fight her back that hard. So keep that in mind. When we're done playing pretend, we go into my room, and I think we were watching Twilight or New Moon or something. I ended up asking her if she wanted to do arm wrestle, and she's like, oh, you don't want to arm wrestle me because I would beat you. Guys, her arms were half the size of mine. Okay, I've always been like naturally like just big arms for an AFAB. Why do you think you would beat me? And she's like, well, I beat you when we were wrestling. And I was like, Ellie, I let you win. Your character was my character's like mom or something, mentor figure. I let you win for the plot. And then I kind of started to be like, wait, you think you're stronger than me? Let's wrestle right now and see who wins, and I'll actually try. She refused to wrestle me. When she realized that I let her win and there might be a chance that she wouldn't win a second time, even just for fun, she refused to wrestle me. And I was like, we just wrestled before. You were fine with it when you thought you were winning, when you didn't know I was holding back my full strength. Why can't we wrestle now for fun? Just because you think you would lose? So that's when I started to realize she doesn't want to be second to me. Is it because she's jealous? Or is it because I'm beneath her in her mind? And if I best her at something, how would I remain beneath her? Or is it just because I'm neurodivergent? And again, neurotypicals don't want to be bested by neurodivergents or people they think are weird. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. Why wouldn't she let me wrestle her? Did she have some type of complex? Or do I have the complex because I wanted to wrestle her and prove that I was stronger? Because I don't feel like I cared who was stronger until I realized that she cared so much. Let's have a rematch, because I don't want you to go around telling people that you beat me in a fight or something. Like, I was 4'11" for the longest time until like 9th or 10th grade, and then I finally had a growth spurt to 5'5", short king over here. But she was like 4'8". She was little. That would probably put the odds in my favor. Why wouldn't you let me wrestle you, girl? Were you that afraid that you might lose? Anyways, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one that cares. I don't know. I'm still kind of bothered that she wouldn't wrestle me. I would have beat her. So I thought that was kind of odd. Something else that happened later in my 8th grade year was in Mrs. Lightnecker's room. Now, Mrs. Lightnecker was my 7th and 8th grade cross country coach, and she was also my track coach as well for 7th and 8th grade, but not in 9th grade. She was my coach for a season of 9th grade for cross country, but then this guy that was almost an Olympian came and took over, has accelerated the program since, which I'm sure he's just happy about because he loves to live vicariously through those runners, let me tell you. That's a story for another time. About my coach, we'll call him, I've named him before, but I won't name him again because I don't want people to look up my school. He still works there, so we'll call him Coach Don. Yeah, there we go. Coach Don. He loves living vicariously through those kids, okay? He's really trying to get somebody to the Olympics just because he couldn't go. And he just had somebody win state champion, so I just know that I know he's living it up over there. But Mrs. Lightnecker, she worked at the middle school, and she would work with the kids that have disabilities or needed more time. The room that I should have been in, but my mom wouldn't let me. She would help those kids. And me and Ellie would always go into her room before we would go out to this recess before lunch thing. It wasn't really recess because we had no equipment other than basketball hoops, which the boys would hog and not let you play. But they called it recess. We would always miss like the first 10 minutes of that to go into Mrs. Lightnecker's room before she went to her teacher's lunch and hang out with her. And one of these days, Mrs. Lightnecker wasn't in there, but she didn't mind if we wrote on the board. And I was drawing cute little things on the board. Like, I think I was drawing a lion. And as I was drawing my lion, Ellie says, "Hey, Jess, look over here." So I look over at her board and I see it says, "Jessica is stupid," or something like that. And I was like, "Hey, why would you write that?" As she went over to another whiteboard to do whatever, I erased my name and I put Ellie. And I'm like, haha, I changed it to Ellie. And she's like, okay. And she said, "I'm so gonna erase that before we go." And I'm like, that's fine. Her friend Penelope ends up catching up to us in Mrs. Lightnecker's room after we've been doodling for a few minutes unsupervised. And I go out into the hallway and I say to Ellie, "Hey, Penelope's here." And Ellie's like, "1 second." So me and Penelope are walking down the hallway and we stop at the end to wait for Ellie. And I literally say, "Hey, let's not go all the way. Let's wait for her," because that'd be kind of rude. So Ellie finally catches up to us and I'm like, "What took you so long?" And she's like, "You should go check Mrs. Lightnecker's board. I wrote your name back on there." And I'm like, "You did? Why would you do that?" Hold up. And I go back to the room. I erase my name, and me thinking this is like a joke, I put Ellie's name back. And I go out in the hallway thinking they'll still be there, but they were gone. Ellie and Penelope didn't wait for me like I had Penelope wait for Ellie, because they don't see me as an equal, they don't care about me as much, and they don't respect me, so of course they didn't wait. So me not even thinking about it, I go the rest of the way outside too, and I find them. "Hey, why didn't you wait for me?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we didn't want to get in trouble. You were just taking so long." Well, I waited for you even though we could get in trouble, but whatever. And that's when I tell Ellie, "Hey, so I did something." And she's like, "What?" "I erased my name and put yours back, haha." "What? Are you serious? Why would you do that?" And me being confused because I thought that was the game. And that's why I tell her, "Well, we were playing." "Yeah, well, I told you that I put your name back up and I gave you a chance to go back and erase it. Why would you write mine up there when I already came outside?" And I said, "Well, I didn't know that you guys didn't wait for me until I walked in the hallway. And I didn't know it'd be that big of a deal because you wrote my name up there when you thought I had already gone." And that's something I want to know. When Ellie came back out, she was like, "Oh, you guys waited for me." She wrote my name up there thinking we would already be outside, so it would stay up there. What she wanted to do to me ended up inadvertently happening to her, and I say, "Well, I'm so sorry. I thought we were just playing a game, writing each other's names. I wouldn't have left your name there if I knew you'd be this upset, or if I knew that you weren't waiting in the hallway. I just thought we were joking. Why is it okay when you do the joke, but not for me?" And Ellie still, until the end of our friendship, refused to talk about that. When I would go to bring up it as an example of her being cruel or unfair, she would shoot it down. She'd be like, "No, I don't want to talk about that." "Yeah, you don't want to talk about it because you know that your side don't make sense," because it backfired. She was hoping that I didn't wait with Penelope. She was trying to throw me under the bus and embarrass me by leaving that on the board and not telling me until she thought I was outside so that I couldn't erase it. And that ended up being her reality because I didn't know we were being mean. I was just going along with the game. So it kind of stabbed her in the back. If I could go back, I would just erase it off, because she did say, like, "Why didn't you just erase it off?" I know kids can be cruel, but the kids in that classroom, like, aren't. Like, they're the disabled kids, like the kindest fucking kids, okay? They're not gonna say nothing about nothing. Well, Ellie ended up going up to a teacher because I said, "If you go tell a teacher that you forgot to erase your name off the board, they'll probably let you go do it before lunch." And that's what ended up happening, and I even went with her, and it wasn't a big deal, but it just goes to show you that she got upset when she was the butt of the joke, but she was more than prepared to make me the butt of it. Now, if it would have been the other way, and me and Penelope didn't wait, and Ellie came out and said that to me, and I got upset, I'd know right away she would have gaslit me. "Oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, we were playing a game." I know it. Around this time is when I started to realize Ellie's not very nice. She gets to do things, but if I do them, I get in trouble, or I'm weird, or I'm a mean person. Our personalities would always clash too, because I had strong opinions, but so did she. But she's a Christian and a conservative, and I'm a leftist in the closet queer. So my strong opinions are based in empathy and socialism, and hers are based in fuckery. Even as a little kid, I remember trying to correct her viewpoints, and she would get snarky. And if I tried to call out where things weren't really fair, like she would treat Penelope a different way, or our friend Kelsey a different way, but then be crueler to me, she would always flip that on me. I remember us stepping aside from the group one time and being like, "Hey, I really think we should work on how we talk to each other, because we always fight all the time during our free time. We would always bicker. When you, Ellie, were absent yesterday, that was like the first day this week there was no bickering. So I feel like the common denominator is us." And instead of taking me for what I was saying, which is, oh, when one of us is absent, when one of us isn't there, there are no arguments, maybe it is the way we talk to each other, other. She goes, well, when you're not there, we don't fight either. Now that you mention it, when you're absent, we don't fight either. So like, it's not just me. And I'm like, I'm not trying to say it's you. I was just using that as an example. When both of us aren't in the same room, there's no conflict. So we need to figure out what's going on when we're in the same room. How can we get along and be good friends to each other? And we never did get to like how we could do that because she was just so defensive. Maybe I could have worded it better or given a different example, but it was true. That day that she was absent like 2 days in a row. The other kids were nice to me, is what I was trying to get at. Penelope and Kelsey and this kid Daniel that would hang out with us, they would all talk to me and include me in the conversation. But on days Ellie is there, I'd be frozen out. Say this is the four of them standing here talking like this, okay? I'd be out here. And if I tried to come in here, okay, to be included, they would just freeze me out. Do you know what I mean? So I was trying to explain to her how I feel like I'm a part of the group and welcomed and there's no hostility when she's not there, but when she's there, suddenly I'm not part of the group. This started to affect how the group would treat me because Ellie was like the ringleader, you know, the strongest personality. I had a strong personality too, but I was neurodivergent, so I would kind of just not always stick up for myself because it was always met with so much bicker. It was always met with so much spice and rudeness from Ellie. I would pick and choose my battles. One of the battles I picked though was when Daniel bought everybody at our end of the lunch table an ice cream bar except me. He bought himself one, he bought Ellie one, he bought Penelope one, he bought Kelsey one. He did not buy me one. And when I asked him, he said, oh, well, I didn't think you would want one. And I said, well, when everyone else is getting one, yeah, I would like one. I mean, I thought we were all friends. And then he goes, oh, well, I just didn't have enough money for that. And then I go, well, I was raised if you don't have enough for everybody, then you don't give out any at all. And then Ellie goes, why are you making such a big deal out of it? And I'm thinking in my head, I don't know, because I'm 13 years old and a friend of ours got everybody ice cream but me in the group. Probably that's why. Well, I went home and told my mom this, and my mom said, here, I'm gonna give you a $20 bill. You go to school tomorrow and you buy everybody ice cream but that little fucker. And at first I'm like, okay. But then as I get on the bus that next morning, I'm thinking to myself, what would make this little kid, Daniel, feel worse? Dishing out the same thing he dished me or buying him an ice cream, even though he just left me out? So that's what I did. I went to school and at lunchtime, I bought 5 ice creams. One for me, one for Ellie, one for Penelope, one for Kelsey, and one for Daniel. And I passed them out slowly, one at a time, and I gave Daniel's his last. The shock on his face, I'll never forget. He was like, oh, I didn't expect you to get me one. And I said, well, I would never leave someone out because it doesn't feel very good. And you know what? Daniel apologized to me. He's like, you know what? That wasn't very nice of me. And the next day, he bought everybody ice cream and gave me one. He never left me out again. But I didn't do that to be a good person, okay? I didn't do that just so he wouldn't feel left out. I picked what would make him feel psychologically worse, okay? I grew up with a psychological manipulator, so I'm like, what would make him feel worse? Yeah, I could leave him out, an eye for an eye, or I could buy him an ice cream, show him empathy, use my empathy as a weapon, because I know that'll get into his head and make him feel like, wow, I just snubbed Jess, but Jess still included me. I'm an asshole, and it worked. Use that trick only for good, okay? Now, Ellie ended up quitting track and stuff. She said it was because she was busy, which, I mean, is probably true. She had band, and she really liked to focus on her academics, but my mom would be like, it's because you're faster than her. She doesn't like to lose to you. It could have been a little bit of that. Ellie doesn't like to lose, but I don't think it was just specifically me. It could have been any friend beating her at something, so I don't think it was just all have to do with me, but it probably did play a part. But the girl really was busy. But because she quit running, the only thing she could compete with me with anymore was grades, and I wasn't that good in school, and she knew that. And she would get A's a lot. And if she got an A, the first thing she would do is find me in the classroom. And we had a lot of our classes together in 8th grade. She would come find me. Hey, what did you get? I got an A. Huh? I got an A. What did you get? Huh? Oh, you got a 60? Well, that's too bad. Hey, poem, I got a 98. I got a 98. That's the kind of stuff she would do. And sometimes I wouldn't even show her my grade. She would just come over and flip my paper and look at it just to embarrass me. Can someone in the comments explain to me why she would do that? If she only became my friend because she felt sorry for me, why does she care so much if she beats me at grades? Is it just to put me down? Or is it because she wants to check that she's beating me at something? Or is it really just to put me down? I don't know, but I hate the grade game. You should not be doing that with your friends, competing like that. You should be, oh, you got a 60? Like, hey, I got a 98 on this. Why don't I help you study, like, during recess? Like, she could have done that. She could have done anything. She could have just done nothing. But no, she's like, haha, you got a 60. Hey, look what I got. Not a 60 like Jess. Like, what the fuck? I remember this specific conversation after we took the ACTs. I had taken them twice and she had only taken it once. And I remember her being like, so what did you get on the ACT? And me feeling proud of myself, I said, well, I studied really, really hard and I somehow got a 25, which was 4 points higher than the first time I took it and got a 21. The math portion would bring me down so bad because I was so bad with numbers. So in order to get a higher score, or I studied the stuff I was good at so I could ensure I get 30s or above in the things I'm good at, like the reading part and English, I think are the two. Is it reading and English, or do they call it literature and English? I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering the 4 things wrong, but I swear there was reading and then there was like English and then there was science and then math. I can't freaking remember. Do you guys remember the 4 pillars of the ACT test? I ended up getting a 33 in the reading and a 30 in the other one and a 27 in science and a freaking 19 in math. I don't know. Or it was like a 24 in science and a 19 in math. It all added up to 25 somehow, whatever my numbers were. And I was so proud of myself. And this little girl, instead of being like, oh, wow, that's great, I got a 26. Like, look at us. Good for us. She goes, oh, well, I got a 26 and I didn't even have to study at all. Good for you. Why are you pointing out that you did a little better than me with less effort? Why do you always do that, Ellie? Why do you exist to put me down? Did you become my friend because you felt sorry for me, or did you become my friend so you could make me feel sorry for myself too? She would also put me down about my mom. My mom didn't like her, so I'd have to lie through my teeth all the time when Ellie would fear that my mom didn't like her. Oh, I just think Linda doesn't like me. She freaking doesn't. I would say, no, that's not true. My mom's just a hard ass. Like, she's grumpy all the time. Don't worry about it. She likes you. My mom didn't like Ellie. My mom called Ellie a little B word, didn't like Ellie, knew what Ellie was about from the get-go, okay? But my mom would say that about all my friends. So when it finally was true that Ellie was bad news bears, I didn't fully believe it. I thought, oh, you called my friend a female dog in 3rd grade because she took the swing that I liked, so you're probably wrong about Ellie. Mom, you were right about this one. I'll give you that. Ellie is a little narcissistic twat, okay? Or at least a full of herself, youngest child of the family, gets everything she wants that has narcissistic tendencies because of it, or needs their ego checked. I'm not here to diagnose people. Ellie has severe narcissistic tendencies, okay? And I did too as a little kid. I was very much all in my own head because autism keeps you in your own head, and it's a conscious thing to put myself in other people's shoes, okay? But Ellie's shoes, too tight for me. Never been able to fit in them. Can't wrap my mind around her noggin at all. Maybe because I wouldn't do this kind of stuff to other people. I wouldn't treat people the way she does. Go out of my way to make them feel bad, put them down. But when we were on the topic about how she thinks that my mom doesn't like her, she pointed out, well, I actually don't like to go to your house anyway. And I'm like, what do you mean? Why don't you like to go to my house? Oh, well, I don't really think I should say. Why'd you bring it up then? Tell me, like, why do you want to come to my house? Why? Oh, I don't think I should say. I probably shouldn't have said anything. That's something narcissists do, or controlling people do, to pique your interest, okay? They'll bring up a topic, and then when you're interested, they'll act like it's too big of a deal to tell you, or that they shouldn't have brought it up. They're still gonna tell you, and they want to tell you, okay? They just enjoy seeing you beg for it. And she's done this to me on several occasions. She'll be like, oh, someone's not happy with you. Someone doesn't like you. Oh, who? Well, I probably shouldn't say who it is. No, wait, who doesn't like me? Because I'd like to go apologize if I did something. I just don't think I should say, who is it? Whoa, calm down. It's like, you calm down. Why are you putting out that someone doesn't like me if you're not gonna tell me who it is? Like, just don't mention it. But she would do that, and finally I got her to tell me why she doesn't want to come to my house, and it's not my mom, it's because my house smells like smoke. Your house just smells so bad of smoke. Well, both my parents are cigarette smokers, okay? How is that in my control? It's not. When I go to Ellie's house, her mom would have clothes all over the fucking place. On the tables, the counters, everywhere. Even on the floor, you trip over it, but I never said anything about that. Hey guys, sorry, I know I look a little different, new shirt. I have a few more things that I remember that this girl did. Hair? Did you see that floating hair? I hope not. Anyway, I have a few more things that this girl did, but it's a different day because I live with somebody that is always here, and therefore I can never film. Don't worry, they're moving out soon, I hope. And then this house will be ours again, which will be nice because nobody that's almost 30 should have to live with their mother. Not my mother. Like, I would never allow that to happen. Ignoring that situation, back to this. There were a couple things that she did in the 9th grade. One of them was whenever we would have a group project, she would never include me. Usually a group project would be 2 or 3 people. And in our English class, it was Ellie, Penelope, me, and another one of Ellie's friends. And if I wasn't fast enough, Ellie would pick those 2 and purposely not include me. But if I moved over there fast enough to sit down, then I would have to be included because I technically got there first. Now they would all exchange looks when that would happen, but I didn't realize that I wasn't really wanted to be included. I just thought, oh, it's first come, first serve. I understand I get left out sometimes because the other 2 friends group up quicker, so it's just first come, first serve. No, they never wanted to be in a group with me, just with each other. And sometimes I remember being like, oh, well, we could ask the teacher if we can have 4 people so I don't have to like work alone or work with people that I don't really know that well. And they would be like, no, that's okay. We're fine with the 3 we have. You're not willing to ask if our group can be a group of 4 just to make sure all your friends are included? Okay, Ellie. Speaking of groups, one of the times that me and Ellie were partners, we had to pick a title and kind of make up a different name for it. I can't remember the exact assignment. I just know that we ended up picking Twilight as our theme and we called it Nightlight or something and then made a parody of it. But before we picked Twilight as our parody that we would have to make a skit for, Ellie came up with an idea. And out of all the franchises or stores that you could pick to make a joke about, Ellie picked Walmart, which is where my mother worked, and she knew that my mother worked there. She goes, how about we do Walmart, save money, live worse, instead of save money, live better? And I was like, oh yeah, my mom works at Walmart. Ellie legit goes, oh yeah, that's right. You don't think she'll care if we do this theme, do you? And I'm thinking, I don't know. Probably not, because she wouldn't think that you're making fun of her. Well, I went home and told my mom about it. Oh, one of the ideas we had was Walmart, save money, live worse. And my mom was like, don't do that one. That's really offensive to me because I work there. That's how I pay the bills. If it weren't for Walmart, we wouldn't even have a Christmas. I feel like you're French trying to make fun of me. And I thought my mom was kind of being ridiculous because when I went to school and I told Ellie, yeah, my mom thought you were making fun of her with the Walmart thing. Ellie goes, oh, I wasn't trying to do that. I forgot she even worked there until you said anything. And I bought that because I don't believe that somebody would go out of their way to put someone's mother down. I still don't really know if she was purposely trying to put my mom down, but my mom would notice things in Ellie that she would see in herself, narcissistic traits. So maybe my mom was onto something because that is kind of random to pick Walmart out of all things. But that wasn't the only idea Ellie had. Like, she had a few other ideas before I came up with the Twilight one. One of the last things that I remember Ellie did that was kind of strange is one time we went to the bathroom together, because you know how girls were. We go to the bathroom in groups, okay? I feel like when you're clubbing, it's for safety or something, but girls in high school just do it because it's fun to leave class together and chat as you go and chat as you're washing your hands and chat as you walk back, you know? Well, me and Ellie were in the bathroom before class and I was washing my hands and she was standing in the mirror, and all of a sudden she's looking herself up and down and then waves me over and she was like, Jess, come here. I finished watching my hands wash each other, dried them, and I come over to where she's standing in front of the mirror and I'm like, what's up? And that's when Ellie goes, yeah, so we're not like the prettiest in the school, but we're not ugly either, don't you think? And me, who was in pageants, that was something that I was always confident about. When I was a cis girl, I knew that I was conventionally pretty. Now, I wasn't social enough to be popular. I was still neurodivergent and awkward, but the reason I got as far as I did, I was able to get my foot in the door with people before they would slam it and realize there was something off, is because I looked similar to them. Because if you notice, every popular kid is conventionally pretty. Now, I'm no 10 out of 10, okay? I was no Tate McRae, but I was still like a 7 or an 8, I would say, on a good day. And so me not agreeing with her ideology of herself and what she looped me into, I go, no, I don't think so. I actually think that I'm really pretty. I'm really confident in how I look. And I remember Ellie going, well, yeah, you are really pretty, Jess. And then she didn't say anything else. And I just go, thank you. And looking back, I realized I probably should have said, you're really pretty too. Why would she call herself mid and then also pull me into it and call me mid? We're not the most pretty in the school, but we're not ugly. I don't know what you're on. I think I'm pretty fucking gorgeous. I don't know about you. Like, I like how I look. I wasn't letting her drag me down in confidence. The last time I ever really talked to Ellie was senior year. We did senior tag together because the friends I was gonna do it with, we had a falling out because I realized they were talking about me behind my back and like making fun of me. So I ended up not going with them. And one of the things that happened while we were meeting to decide our strategy, the one week that we were in the senior tag, that was when Ellie did that thing I mentioned earlier where she was like, oh yeah, so there's someone that was talking to me that's not happy with you. And I go, oh, who? And Ellie goes, well, on second thought, I don't know if I should say. Trying to gatekeep it after piquing my interest. That's something that controlling people do. Well, now I'm curious, so I want to know who it is. Well, who was it? Who said that? Oh, I just don't think I should say. You seem really worked up about it. I'm worked up now because you brought up that somebody doesn't like me, and now you're not going to say who it was. Like, just tell me who it was. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to go, like, punch them in the face right now. Tell me what they said. Now I would be like, whatever, then why did you bring it up then if you're not going to share? Like, you're boring. But back then I wanted to know, so I kept pressing and pressing, and she loved that. Like, she kept dragging it out until I felt crazy. I was starting to feel crazy, like I was the crazy one for being so curious. Why would you bring something up and then immediately after I want to know, after you see that I want to know, not tell me? And then, like, she was grinning the whole time, too. Like, I just don't think I should say. I hate people that do that. She finally told me, though, and when I heard the name of who was upset, I'm like, oh, I don't care. It was the sister of one of the friends that was talking crap about me behind my back when my mom literally got arrested. Literally 3 weeks after my mom got arrested, my friends were like, Jess is sad again today. And then the other one goes, story of Jess's life. Literally making fun of me. You would be sad, too, if you saw your mother get arrested after domestic violencing your father. all those friends back then, I finally unfollowed all those friends. I was still mutuals with some of them. No, you were not kind to me or there for me at the most vulnerable time in my life when you guys should have been a friend. You guys talked about me behind my back and then did nothing. So I didn't even care. I'm like, oh, I don't care what Blank says about me because I don't give a crap about her sister anymore. The last interaction I ever had with Ellie was when I came out as bisexual on Instagram and I posted with my girlfriend before I even transitioned. She unfollowed me immediately. She's always been a hater since we were 12 years old in that movie theater, and I made that joke that people might think we're lesbian. Or maybe we were 14. It doesn't matter. She's always been a hater. Anyways, that's a story about my friend that I think, after telling you all of that, really was a narcissist. My mom really was right about her, and she wasn't a good friend that I should hang around. Why are there all these hairs? Anyways, like and comment. It really helps me out, boost my video, all that kind of good stuff. Please take the subscribe button out to dinner, and then excuse yourself to the bathroom and escape out the window and abandon it there. I'd really appreciate that. And if you guys like this one, let me know, and I can do another one like it, because I've had other friends that are kind of like this, but I've also had really good friends, but it's not really fun to talk about them. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week, Friday at 3 or Saturday at noon, or not, I don't know, bye!